Hi, everybody. Welcome to how to make a ceremonial candle for the lunar eclipse using cannabis and other plant spirit medicines. And I want you to consider using the power of a 72-hour candle to support yourself during this really charged time. These are available widely at any supermarket, and I highly suggest that you get one that's in glass to start with, and that's white. You can use different colors for different intentions, but for this particular ceremony, and to really work with the full moon, the lunar eclipse, and your own personal, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual shadow pack, you're going to want to use white. You're going to want to also have a stick or some sort of tool. A skewer works really well. This is just a support rod for one of my plants. You're going to want a lighter to light your candle once you're complete. You're going to want any plant spirit medicines that you want to work with. So I'm going to work with the core 4 canna essences right here. The red, the green, the purple, and the violet. So the grounding, the abundance, destiny's calling, and cleansing. I'm going to pull out my favorites, which is Palo Santo essential oil. I have 2 different versions. I also really like Sage Meets the Snake. It's a co-distillation. We'll talk more about it as we put this in. And then different flower essences. If you're trying to break patterns and you're trying to get rid of things that are being highlighted and that are coming to your consciousness during the full moon, the Bach flower essence, let me get that close. The Bach flower essence chestnut bud. What happens when we flip it upside down? Can you read it better? No. The Bach flower essence chestnut bud helps you break old patterns, old ways of being, and lets you move forward with support and consciousness as you transform those old patterns and bring in new, fresh, revitalized light into the physical, the emotional, mental, spiritual system. One of my favorite lines to work with is the Alaskan Flower Essence Company, and they do a lot of research on their flower essences. This is a particular combination pack that I really like. And yes, I don't make any money from off these. I am not an affiliate. It's just my favorite combination pack. And I thought it would be one of the easiest tools for you to use if you wanted to branch out from the traditional Bach chestnut bud. Another one that's really good from this line that I highly suggest is the full moon reflection. This is an environmental essence from the same company, Alaskan Flower and Gem Essences. They also make environmental essences that capture pristine, unique environments that have been untouched, mainly by man, so that it's intact with the plant spirits the way that they are and have been for many a millennia. So it really holds very high vibration and resources. And full moon reflection is especially important right now today because we're working with the full moon, and it's doubly charged with the lunar eclipse that we're going to be having tonight. So with the full moon traditionally puts a big bright spotlight on all your junk, all your shadow, all the things that drag you down, that you carry along with you. It highlights that. It helps bring it to your front face. And by using the candle, you can take that shake up and give it some resource. So one of my favorite ways to do this is to start with my skewer and prepare the candle. I'm just going to go ahead and stick some holes all the way down to the bottom of the candle. And it's going to bring out this little mush. I like to go directly across from each other so it stays symmetrical. And you'll notice that where I'm plugging into the candle here, can't see it really well with the light, is pretty close to the edge, right in here. And I'm going to put about 4 to 6 holes in here. I don't want to put it very close to the candle wick itself. then if I do that, it's going to get really unstable. The wick itself won't work properly. And if you just do it this way, you'll get kind of a whole bunch of little mush going on in this space here. So you've got just a whole bunch of holes poked in the surface like that, okay? And then what you do is you would take your favorite friend, your resource, your tool that you're using to support your system during this time frame, right? Whatever form you're going to be using. This one keeps moving, and I'm needing red. I was attracted to it when I got ready today. So I'm going to be applying grounding, red and grounding. It's grounding and energizing, helps us connect to the shadow side of ourselves and bridge the gap between the places of where we see and don't see that which we cause as in suffering or other people cause as in suffering. So all I'm doing is just sticking a couple of drops, usually trying to put one drop in each hole. It's not going to go completely in there. Sometimes you're going to have a little bit of fluid going out. Now, the thing about the Bach essence that I just put in here is it's got brandy in it. So it has alcohol. So be very, very careful when you start it. And I'm going to show you a way to protect yourself a little bit more if you do use more flower essences that have alcohol in them. Now, the canna essence itself, the red grounding, it has no alcohol in it, so it's not going to be flammable, but it does have the glycerin, so it can sometimes put out a wick if it gets too close to it. I'm also going to use a little bit of Palo Santo, mainly because it cleans the auric field, but it also fills it in at the same time. And what it does in the auric field, the bioelectric field, is it fills in any holes and gaps in the field so that you're whole, fresh, and pristine as you're going forward. And that's exactly what you want as you're moving forward into the next phase, the new moon, and then into the solar eclipse. This is a big momentous shift for us, not only energetically, but physically in our world, our alignment with the stars and the planets. We are being modified, changed as the eclipses happen. And our cells are being cognizant of that as well. I'm also going to use a little bit of this essence. It's a canna essence called Balance. It's the January essence that our practitioner uses, and it's part of our open and closing procedures. Only practitioners have access to this essence. So if you're interested in it, you want to play around with it, come see me, or I could always prepare you a dosage bottle and give you some directions on how to use it. So I talked about full moon reflection as well, and I want to put a little bit of the full moon reflection in there because it's continuing to highlight all that is not serving me and helping me to pull that forward, look at it, embrace it into my heart space so that I can transform it, break those patterns with chestnut bud, and continue forward with my destiny's calling, purple canna essence, in full abundance, green canna essence, into my next stage. And that's where I'm going to put a few drops of the Sage Meets the Snake. And that's actually sage brush. So it's a co-distillation of sage and this lovely artemisia that comes together, and they really provide a very deeply cleansing, supportive space in the physical, emotional, mental bodies. Okay, so now you're going to notice you got a little bit of fluid going around in here. I like to take my stick again, and I'm going to come along the top and just peel. There you go. Now you can see. I'm going to just come along the top and peel this base here so that I get a little bit more wax coming up off of the candle. And if there's too many holes, or too much fluid, just start poking some holes in it. It'll balance out after you start it. There we go. So this one I just needed to take and put a few more holes in. There we go. And go all the way down to the bottom of the candle. So this way it's anointing the candle full 360 degrees with my intentions, my resources, and my needs. Now, before I would start the candle, I would like to smudge myself. That's what I usually do is I smudge my system, and I would start by smudging with the sage. You just would light the sage brush, just the tip here. You want to get it flaming enough that you get these little embers on there. See the embers? And you can lightly blow on the embers, but you'll notice that the more you blow, the more all of that stuff goes everywhere. And that's dangerous because these are little pieces of fire that could catch on fire. So with the smudge, what I would then do is go through my system where, there we go, let's modify that. So then I would smudge my system, moving along. I like to do window washer kind of movements. I like to get up underneath my armpits, my heart chakras. I like to work the back of my system. Oh, somewhat smoothing my back field. This is why I love the wands, because it's really easy to get back there, smudge your entire body. You don't need somebody else to do it. You do it all yourself, and you only need one of the medium-size sage wands to do that. Okay, so now that's all I needed to clear my space. This is actually over smudging. I usually have my goodies, but I'm going to use a plate real quick to put it out. There we go. You just want to stomp it until the embers go out and you can touch it. So that's good. Now with sage, you have left yourself open. You've left yourself exposed to being a clean, clear slate. And what you're going to want to do is fill that in with something else. And I like to use Palo Santo. This company is one of my favorites because they are sustainable. Shaman's Market, they harvest from 10 to 15-year downed trees that have sustainably fallen. And then when you use the Santo, for being a 10 to 15-year-old tree, this smells amazing. And when you actually light it to burn it, it smells even better. So I just get the tip lid again, just a little bit. This one, it didn't start right away. So this is kind of, it has a little moisture to it. It also has been raining here for a couple of days, so that could be part of it. Okay, now you want the same thing that you had on the smudge bundle, just a little bit of the embers, and then you would go in, smudge your system, filling in any holes, gaps, spaces in your body that are needing support. Now notice it's a little harder to get all the way in your back because this thing isn't very long. It's not as long as the smudge stick is. That's a lot of a difference there. There's one other tool I've been really enjoying this month, in the month of blue, the month of wisdom, the month of August, the month of respiration, and coming to conscious, heart-centered communication. This is another good resource. Why you cannot read that at all. Let me get it closer. This is Deep Red. It's an Aura Soma pomander. It's a liquid energetic cleanser and a grounder. The Deep Red has a whole bunch of gem essences, flower essences, and color therapy, aromatherapy as well. It's an alcoholic version, and it wafts off of your hands filling into your field. So you bring your hands energetically to any place that's calling for attention in your heart space or your body, anywhere in your PEMS system. So there's a whole bunch of resources. There's more than 3. The main ones I would highly suggest are the chestnut buds of the Bach flower essence to help you break old patterns and ways of being, the full moon reflection from Alaskan Flower and Gem Essence Company to help you see the shadow pack, get the resources you need so that you can really embrace and look at what is causing suffering for you or for others in that space. And then also the resources of my brand, the Canna Essences, the drug-free, alcohol-free flower cannabis energy medicine that allows you to use vibrochromotherapy in your own tools and resources. So now that I've gotten this guy ready, it's sat for a few minutes, which is what I wanted it to do. I wanted it to not be very wet on the top, so I wanted to kind of stick to my finger. Ooh, smell those essential oils, kind of strong. I've got a little dilution right here. There we go. Use your carrier oils if you need to, if you get it directly on your hand. I've got a little bowl here I use. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and start my intention process. That would be where I would actually pull out my Create 3 Seeds of Intention booklet and start to use, where is that? That's not showing up. Create the 3 Seeds of Intention. So in the discussion page and also in the description notes, you'll notice this link for Create 3 Seeds of Intention for your new moon or your full moon Connect to the Heart of Nature resource worksheet. And what it's really trying to do is get you to realize what 3 things are nourishing you and what 3 things are depleting you and taking down your system, so that you'll know exactly what resources you need to put inside of your candle. Now, I already did my worksheet and I was needing some resource. I was attracted to the red Canna Essence, as you saw, and I needed that 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 grounding, that energizing resource. And I need it, I guess, for the next 72 hours during the course of the full moon and the lunar moon. So now that I've gotten this started, I'm going to go ahead and light my ceremonial candle. And I'm going to light further down and around, letting the flame itself, well, I can't see that very well, start to melt the wax. So what I'm doing is I'm melting closed there some of the holes that I created with the stick, and I'm not smelling like any essential oil because it fell down in between the holes. So now what I'm doing is I'm just moving around the softened wax. That was just the little flakes on the top that got moved around when I was poking holes through the candle. So now I'm using that excessive wax to just come in and seal in all of my intentions, all of my resources. So now that the candle's lit, everything's going. You can go and set the candle someplace safe, away from curtains, away from places it'll be knocked down, and let it sit and burn for the next 72 hours, holding your intentions, your resources that you need to step forward into your light, into your destiny's calling, so that you can shine brightly and hear your own inner wisdom as the next new moon and the solar eclipse happen over the course of the next 2 weeks. I wish you so much love, so many resources, so much shadow packs support. That please comment. What's going on with you? What do you need support with? What can we support each other with during this 72-hour time frame, or even over the next 2 weeks, as we work intentionally with our growing consciousness? Thank you so much for being part of the movement, the consciousness movement, and the evolution of humanity by raising vibrations and changing the world one drop of consciousness at a time. Love you all. Have a beautiful day and take good care of yourselves as you transform over the next month.